Today, I'd like to talk to you about the MicroConsignment model. The MicroConsignment model is a poverty alleviation tool that we first devised in 2003 in rural Guatemala. And since that time, the MicroConsignment model has directly improved the standards of living of over 150,000 people in developing world rural communities, indirectly many more, and hopefully we're really just getting started. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is what it does, about why it's necessary, how it works, and what it's really all about. But I'm going to start with some bad news. Unfortunately, as we all know, billions of people in hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of communities are living in sustained poverty. But to be clear, poverty is a symptom and not a problem. What's the problem? By and large, it's a problem of access. Generally speaking, it can be access to medication or access to education. But one of the main drivers that keeps people from escaping from the vicious cycle of poverty is access to essential technologies, products, and services that can help them to improve their lives from an economical, environmental, energy, and health perspective. For example, people are cooking on the floor, campfire style in their homes. What does that mean? It means they're breathing in smoke every day. It means they're having to go out and collect wood. They're spending money on wood when they have it. Women are cooking for hours at a time over the fire. Why? Simply because they lack an improved cook stove. Children are drinking contaminated water, so they suffer from chronic diarrhea and malnutrition, and so they can't go to school. Why? Because they lack a simple water purification device that we would take for granted. Adults who turn 40, 90% of them lose their ability to see up close. Why? Because they lack a simple pair of reading glasses. What happens? They end up losing their ability to read, losing their ability to see up close, losing their productivity, and losing their economic opportunity. And people are using candles and kerosene for light. What do they lack? They lack basic solar technologies that can help them to have work, and that can help them to study and help them to improve their lives. But here's the good news. The pieces exist to build the bridge to create the last mile of access, or as many people would call it, the first mile of access. There is no lack of individuals with entrepreneurial spirit and a desire to help their communities who are willing to start up new businesses. People do have time to start new ventures. Some more than others, but time isn't a problem. As we all probably know, cell phones are now almost ubiquitous in the developing world, which offer a means for low cost and timely communication. A lack of organizations, be it national, local, multinational, isn't a problem. There are organizations, there's leadership, there are businesses which can invest their time and energy to solving this problem of access. The solutions are there, and new technology solutions are being innovated every day. Local transportation networks exist. Buses, pickup trucks, motorcycles, donkeys, mules. I don't know the difference between the two. Shipping and logistics are in place to get new things to new places where there isn't already industry creating them. And certainly money isn't the main issue. Although people have low incomes and limited means, they will invest their money in things that have a profound impact in their lives, things that they value. And a lack of donor capital or investment capital isn't the problem. But what's the bad news? Well, is that to date, in the vast majority of the developing world, these existing elements haven't been integrated in a model that's needs responsive and is scalable that helps to build this bridge. The bridge to create access simply doesn't exist. But the good news is that the MicroConsignment model elegantly aligns all of these existing elements to create a virtuous value chain, so to speak, and create this bridge to get social impact solutions to the communities that need them. So it creates first-time access to life-changing solutions, life-changing, life-saving products and services by empowering local entrepreneurs for the first time to go out and be change leaders in their communities. The good news is that it's a proven methodology for getting healthcare, economic, energy, and environmental solutions like water purification buckets and solar lights and near vision glasses and energy-efficient light bulbs and seeds and drip irrigation systems, for getting them to communities that need them to help them improve their standards of living. Let me give a couple of examples. In Guatemala, there's a community called La Ventosa, which is in the Cuchumatan Mountains, where about 90 families live. It's an isolated community with an indigenous population. And this community now has light for the first time. Now, 95 families were able to buy solar lights. Why? Well, because of Rosa, the entrepreneur pictured there at your left. Yeah. Rosa is a micro-consignment model entrepreneur who learned how to go out to these communities and explain solar technology and offer things at an affordable price and teach people how they can use them so that they could purchase them and help them improve their lives. In the town of Concepcion, in Xela, a mom town, a mom village in Guatemala, you now have 21 people who are able to see up close again. Why is that? Because on a Saturday, Maria and Reina, two micro-consignment model entrepreneurs, went out and visited them and gave them free eye exams and sold glasses at an economical price. And besides that, Rosa and Maria might not have had this opportunity. If not doing this, they might have been cutting sugarcane at the coast. In Nueva Esperanza, a community around Lake Atitlan, a remote village, where everyone is traditionally cooked on the floor, now you have 21 families who have a healthy, economical, and productive way to cook for the first time. Why? Because they have improved cook stoves that were offered by Juanita, who is an amazing micro-consignment model entrepreneur who first started in 2004 and now not only goes out to villages and offers these solutions, but she actually trains other entrepreneurs in her region. And finally, in a community near Chimaltenango, about an hour from Guatemala City, you now have children who in the school are drinking clean water for the first time. So they're no longer having to suffer from chronic diarrhea and can get clean water at school and make sure that they're continually able to attend school. Why is that? Because of Yoli and Clara. Yoli and Clara have been with us since 2004 as well. They've helped thousands and thousands of people in their communities, and they're not only local leaders, but as well, they're part owners in the social enterprise that now runs this in Guatemala. But these are just a few cases. Although we started in Guatemala, the micro-consignment model is now working in South Africa, in Nicaragua, and in Ecuador, and you have the same types of women who are out solving the same types of problems for their communities. These women have now sold over 90,000 products and visited over 3,000 villages and are creating this bridge of access for the very first time. So I guess the question would then be, why is this necessary? And why do we need a new model? Yeah. And I think it's helpful to look at, first, the current situation. Well, if you think about how do people get cook stoves or how do people get glasses currently? Well, either they don't get them at all, or oftentimes they only get them through donations. Yeah? And if we're looking to empower people over the medium term and long term to solve their own problems, donations aren't the solution. In a relief work situation, of course, you need to get people things so that they can survive. But if we're really looking to grow access for people, we need to find a better way. And oftentimes, when we provide donations, as we all well know, we end up giving people things that we think they want, not that they necessarily want. So that's the current situation. Where do we want to get to? What's the desired situation? Is that just like we can here, you can walk down the street and you can buy things that you need. That there are businesses, there are stable businesses that are growing, that are offering the types of things that we're talking about. But the problem is that those businesses don't exist. And so we have donations which aren't sufficient, and those businesses that aren't there yet. And unfortunately, that's a long ways off. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to come up with empowerment strategies to get from here to there. So one strategy, if we were to take a step back from having these established businesses which have different ways of financing themselves, might be microcredit. As many of you well know, microcredit can be a fantastic tool when somebody has a going concern and there's unmet demand and they lack access to capital, and so they need a loan so they can buy more things and sell more things. But if you think about what microcredit assumes, it assumes that there's a going concern and they can buy more things to sell more things. With what we're trying to do, there aren't any local distributors. There's nowhere to buy it. Nobody's buying these things in villages. Nobody's selling these things in villages. So simply offering access to capital isn't enough. So we need a more robust solution. So then there's microfranchising, which does a fantastic job of creating local businesses to help people get things that they need for the very first time in these types of communities. So it helps to create a business model. Think of Avon Ladies for the Poor. right? It helps to set up a distribution strategy. So an organization will bring in the products or find the products so they can get them to the entrepreneurs. But here's the thing. A majority of micro-franchising strategies use microcredit. So the entrepreneurs buy the products by taking out a loan. Okay? That's a fantastic solution if you're thinking about things where people can already project their demand and they have self-confidence in their ability to go out and sell them. Think about consumables where people are working in their own communities, such as looking at health products, looking at oral rehydration salts, condoms, soaps, consumable goods. But if you think about it, if I were to go to, say, Juana, as an example here, when she first started, and say, would you like to start out a business going out and selling solar technologies in villages? She'd look at me a little bit strange. But then I'd say, well, I'll help you. We'll help build the business model together. I'll play the role of the distributor, and I'll actually get you the things. She'd say, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a shot, but you have to take out a loan to do it. She'd say, are you crazy, Gregorio? Which I've actually heard many times. And I can't take out a loan. Nobody buys these things. I don't know how to sell them. Only professionals can do it. This is it's out of my league. I have no idea how to do it. She's in a place of very high uncertainty. So to finance an uncertain business from her perspective with debt doesn't work and isn't appropriate because she is going to have to fail a little bit, right? So what's the solution? Well, we simply take all of that from micro-franchising, offer all those things, and say, we understand. You can't finance this with debt in the beginning. How about this? Go through the training. We'll provide you with the products on consignment. You don't have to pay anything. You go out and work in villages, and we'll work with you and teach you how to work with village leaders and sell the products. And then come back, you keep your profits, you give the rest back to us, which we reinvest. Will you give it a shot? And she says, you're still a little bit crazy, Gregorio, but yeah, I think I'll give it a try. Right? That's what micro-consignment is, and that's why I've got the smiley face. Right? It empowers people to overcome uncertainty and try to take advantage of an opportunity for the first time. Basically what it is, when you look at credit mechanisms, we're looking at risk. And micro-consignment is a place of high uncertainty. So it fills the vacuum between donations and credit-based solutions. I'll be quick about going through some of the reasons of why it works. Well, first, at its heart, it's an empathetic model. If you think about it, that risk uncertainty paradigm, it's about trying to understand what are the needs of the community, but what are the needs of the entrepreneur. And importantly, it's a model whereby the entrepreneur can give it a test drive. If the entrepreneur goes out and fails, or decides they don't want to do it, or some situation dictates that they can't do it anymore, all she has to do is turn around, return the consigned goods, take away the knowledge that she's learned, no harm, no foul, she doesn't suffer financially. Okay? As well, you have community members offering things to other community members. People understand each other, they understand their needs. Okay? It's about an opportunity. Opportunities for entrepreneurs, these are opportunities for people who have no entrepreneurial experience, and oftentimes very limited education, and within a month and a half to 2 months, they're able to become professionals. They're able to be seen in the eyes of their communities as their professional problem solvers. Apart from that, if you think about all the different technologies that we read about in the world, it's an opportunity for technology innovators to have a means to get what they need out to the communities, to the people that they're trying to make things for. Most importantly, it's an opportunity for the people who are buying the solutions to have more money. There are two ways that you can have more money. You can make more money or you can save money. Having a cook stove saves money because you don't have to spend money on wood. Having an energy-efficient light bulb saves money because you don't have to spend money on electricity. If you add up the net economic impact of the money saved by the people who have purchased the products through the micro-consignment model and the productivity gains, it's over $3 million that's in these communities that didn't necessarily exist before. So briefly, it's about accountability. If this is a value chain, it has to be self-policing. It's a self-policing value chain whereby if somebody isn't adding value and deriving value, it won't work. If you're not offering something of value to the community, the mayor won't invite you in. If you go to try to sell something in the community and people don't want it, they won't buy it. If you do sell it and they do buy it and it doesn't work, trust me, people will complain. Simply because people are poor, that doesn't mean that they want poor quality. And so the entrepreneur has to solve the problem, or else they won't be invited to go back to that community. Sustainability. We have women like Yoli who have been working with us since 2004. It's a sustainable opportunity for an entrepreneur who makes $1.50 to $2 in an hour in an environment where people are earning $3 a day oftentimes. Yeah. As well, if you look at sustainability, the social enterprise that we created back in 2006, run by Miguel and Clara and Yoli and Reina and Juana and Marta Lydia, started off at a loss. This year, it will gross over $250,000. It's a sustainable solution, a sustainable model that will be there when we leave. And finally, scalability. If you think about how to scale impact, when we train and support and equip 2 women entrepreneurs, they then go out and support 15 to 20 villages. So by supporting 2 people, you're able to help thousands. Yeah. Apart from that, for new organizations to do this, there's incredible leverage that can be created. You don't have to create a bank or a huge infrastructure. Yeah. You can work with other NGOs that are serving the same populations, and they can layer the micro-consignment model software onto their operating system, so to speak. And as well, instead of just breadth, there's depth. Yeah. You can scale out the things that you're offering. And what's important is by having a number of products and solutions, the ones that earn more money for the entrepreneurs can subsidize ones that have higher social impact but don't offer as much of an economic return. If I look at the final thing of what is this really all about, certainly it's about alleviating poverty, and it's about providing access to products and services and jobs and everything that goes into that. But at the end of the day, what's going to propel us to really alleviate poverty in the future, it's much more than that. And I think it's about providing a dignified response. If you think about the women entrepreneurs, they now feel valued, and they're valued in their communities. They're able to provide an income to their families. Their daughters and their sons look up to them, and their community members go to them when there's a problem. And if you think about the beneficiaries, the people who are buying the products, they're buying them with their hard-earned money. And as we all know, there's a certain amount of dignity that comes with being able to pay for something yourself to provide for your family. And the final point is I think it's really about a better future. Right? We can do a lot today. We can solve these 1,000-year-old problems today. But what's going to happen tomorrow? And if children are drinking contaminated water, and if they're breathing in smoke, and they don't have nutritious foods, and their parents can't save money, or their parents can't earn any money, how are they going to have an opportunity for a better future? So certainly it's about access to products and services and jobs, but I think what it's really all about, it's about access for these little guys to have an opportunity to reach their potential, because they're the ones in the future that will really work within their communities to make them a better place and improve standards of living. Thank you very much.